Jay Sekulow, a new bill from Senator Baucus, but what does it mean for abortion?
This is not getting discussed in the mainstream media. Not only are they wrong legally, but the fact that they would do this is outrageous. This is an overreaction and really nonsense. How would you react if this was your son or your daughter? It's the offense of knowing the truth. It's the offense of having an alternate worldview. Saying God bless you to someone is not a violation of the law.
Everybody, welcome to Washington, D.C., and there is a lot going on here right now. As you're aware, and I know this is being followed in a lot of the news, but we're giving you a very different angle on this. There's a lot going on in this healthcare debate, but really the focus is abortion. And the reason I say that is no matter how many bills are developed, abortion still becomes front and center in all of them. The most recent proposal, the so-called moderate proposal by Senator Baucus, still has that kind of language in it. In fact, specifically says if the Hyde Amendment goes, which is set to expire, folks, in 14 days, the Hyde Amendment prohibited federal funding of abortion. There's no attempt, by the way, right now to get that back because we don't think the votes are there. The fact of the matter is that bill goes, the Hyde Amendment law goes, federal funding of abortion through your taxpayer dollars, through your private insurance plan. All of this is really at risk at this point. What we're doing is analyzing this line by line, issue by issue, and we're fighting back aggressively. But then there's a lot at stake here. You've got the Congressman Stupak making his statements, saying that there are Democrats that are opposing this bill. Then you've got the new, quote, Baucus compromise language. What's the status?
Breaking news on this, Jay. This is the last committee that has jurisdiction over this bill, the Senate Finance Committee. Max Baucus has put out his compromise. Listen, do not be deceived. The media outlet is going to say the public option is gone, but 2 points, Jay. You made the first one. Under this bill, if the Hyde Amendment goes away, not only would some abortions be mandated, all abortions could be done, and it could be paid for with federal dollars because this bill sets up a co-op plan, but it's funded by, guess who? You and me.
Yeah, you and me, and it's funding federal and abortion's part of this, folks. I'm reading it. I'll read you the provision, and Jordan's going to comment here. Here's what it says. Abortion cannot be mandated unless it's allowed under Department of Health and Human Services. If it's permitted there, it will be. Well, all you have to do that is get rid of the Hyde Amendment, and, folks, it expires in 14 days.
Now, listen, folks, and we know who is the head of the Health and Human Services Department. Kathleen Sebelius, who is the most pro-abortion politician in U.S. history. She is known as that. In fact, they thought when she was nominated to be the HHS secretary, she was the former governor, they thought that that would be the biggest problem with her nomination, even with a Democrat majority and a pro-abortion majority in the U.S. Senate, that she was so pro-abortion that it even offended those on the pro-choice side of things. And that's who would have that power to take your dollars and pay for abortions. And right now, people have got to keep understanding this because this is important to point out. Federal tax dollars are going to actual abortion procedures. Here in Washington, D.C., that amendment was already removed. We are paying for the actual procedure itself here in Washington, D.C. with tax dollars.
Let me put this into context for you, folks. What I like to do on this broadcast, as we do, we're lawyers here at the American Center for Law and Justice, government affairs experts like Than Bennett. We look at the actual legislation. Now, this just broke last night. Our team was already on it last night and this morning. Let me read you the exact language. Abortion cannot be mandated benefit as part of a minimum benefits package. Now, if it stopped there, it would be great. Then it says, except in those cases for which federal funds appropriated for the Department of Health and Human Services are permitted. Well, once you remove the Hyde Amendment, it's permitted under any circumstances because all of the amendments on the life issue have failed. So when they say this isn't the reality, this isn't what this couldn't possibly happen, reality is it's exactly what's happening.
Yeah,
very quickly,
yeah,
please.
Very quickly. Look past the rhetoric and to what has actually happened. The president says he doesn't want to fund these, but guess what? It's very easy to prevent it. They have chosen not to do it. This is the fifth committee now that has chosen to reject explicitly exempting abortion from coverage. It's going to be done under this federal plan.
All right, folks, here's what we're going to do. This is the latest plan. It's getting covered right now in the media. We are covering it, but we're on top of it. We want it removed. We want this one voted down as well. Say no to these health care plans. It's that simple. Here's the number. You go to your phone right now. It's 1-877-989-2255. Again, it's 1-877-989-2255 to say no to this. Thousands and thousands of you are signing on. Folks, we're analyzing this. We know what the data's saying. This is a fight for life.
It's not only a fight for life, it's bigger than that, folks. It's a fight to keep Planned Parenthood clinics out of your kids' schools and your grandkids' schools. That is why you got to join up and sign up with this fight, folks. 877-989-2255 is our toll-free number to say no to any government plan.
With a renewed push by President Obama and Congress, the focus is once again on revamping our national health care system. While health care legislation is more confusing than ever, there's one thing that's very clear. There must be no government-run health care and no mandatory coverage for abortions. The American Center for Law and Justice is mobilizing and demanding that Congress reject any government-run health care program, a dangerous plan that could open the door to make abortion a mandatory health benefit. The time to voice your opposition is right now. It's time to say no to the public option or any other government-run health care plan. It's also time to say no to mandatory coverage for abortions. Stand with the ACLJ in its effort to get Congress to reject government-run health care. Add your name to our petition today. Call 1-877-989-2255. That's 1-877-989-2255, or add your name online at aclj.org.
Welcome back to Washington, D.C. Breaking news here with the proposed resolution on some of the health care. This resolution from Senator Baucus has abortion specifically in it, folks. When that Hyde Amendment expires in 14 days, it is in there, and it is federally funded.
Not only that, this was the great hope, and I still think it's going to be pitched by even the president as the great hope, but it's the great hope that failed before it started. All of the Republicans who were this part of Gang of Six, all of them have fallen off this bill. None of them, after these 2 months of trying to come together on this Baucus proposal, not a single Republican has endorsed it that was part of that Gang of Six. His own party doesn't like it, his own members of his party. Now, the president may try to sell this because it doesn't include that public option, but it still includes direct abortion funding. And I think this bill could even be seen as worse because it fines people, especially the middle class. You can be taxed, I think, up to 16% of your income in the middle class tax bracket. That's what your insurance premium could be up to 16%. If you're not paying that high of an insurance premium, you're fined by the federal government $3,800. Now, this is where these bills don't make sense to a lot of people. Does it help the very poor? Yes, because they don't pay taxes. They never do pay taxes. Does it hurt the super rich? Not really. They're super rich. It's the middle class who either have to decide to take 16% of their income up to that amount and pay for their own health care plan, or be fined, so basically get taxed again by the federal government, $3,800. The U.S. Senate in this economy is proposing to take more money from the American people.
Let me take it a step further than this, folks, and we've disclosed to you in the last couple of days here on radio, and for our television audience, you need to understand this. We found last week the whole discussion about the school-based clinics, so that you're going to have Planned Parenthood clinics funded by your taxpayer dollars in this bill. We've been talking about the fact that abortion is mandated as part of this. Now Jordan's talking about the economic penalties. But the reality is, this is another federal power grab, and we got to take it a step further. The danger here is not only do they nationalize 20% of the United States economy, which the impact on that would be significant, but they're going to do it with the most pro-abortion agenda in U.S. history, with Kathleen Sebelius leading that charge. The most pro-abortion member of political person in the country right now.
Yeah, and Jay and Jordan, I think you've made the exact point. This is actually worse than the proposals we see for the House side because they're trying to hide directly behind the Hyde Amendment. But listen, you got to look past that. They're looking to repeal it. So once the Hyde Amendment goes, all abortions are mandatory. And Jay, I would take it a step further because the Hyde Amendment isn't going to apply to most of this bill from day one. From day one, abortions are going to be allowed under this bill.
You know, here's the interesting thing. They're actually saying it now in writing in this compromise legislation. It says that abortion cannot be mandated as part of a minimum benefits package except, you got to read every word of this, in those cases for which federal funds appropriated by the Department of Health and Human Services are permitted. Well, as soon as the Hyde Amendment's gone, it's permitted. And that's gone in hours, folks. And right now, is there any movement to get that reinstated?
There is no proposal. That bill is not even in the works. It's not going to be passed in 14 days.
Folks, you got to understand this.
This is a critical time.
This is why when the president makes those speeches and he keeps telling the American people that abortion's not in this plan, that don't worry, no federal funds will go to abortion, that I keep saying a word I don't like to use, but it's true. It's direct lies, because until at least the Hyde Amendments pass, it's a 100% lie under any kind of public plan.
Yep.
And even under this Baucus Baucus plan, it's still a lie as well because the Hyde Amendment hasn't passed yet. There's no table even on it.
By the way, Democratic Congressman Stupak came out today and said the president's not being truthful when it comes to the issue of abortion and these bills. He's being very clear. And he said he's got, what, 39?
39 to 44 was it? He said, which, Jay? That's enough to take the bill down.
Say that again. He's got 39 to 44 members, Democrats included there, folks. All Democrats?
Yeah, all Democrats, yep. And let me tell you this.
Enough to take the bill down.
That's right. We've been saying this over and over, and now Congressman Stupak is agreeing with us. The president can say whatever he wants. It's Congress that's writing the bill, and the Democrat members are looking through. They see what we see.
I want to make this really clear to folks who have been listening to the broadcast the past 2 weeks because we've been tough on the president and tough on this administration. The members of his own party, Congressman Stupak here, and 44 other members of Congress are also saying that the president isn't telling the truth. So don't just take our conservative right-wing voice for it. Go listen to Democrats. Go listen to members of the president's party. They've said it too. The president's lying on abortion. He's not telling the truth. Well, if you look up the definition of not telling the truth, the other word you use, though it's been banned on the floor of the House now, is the word liar.